Welcome back to my channel, and today I got another great video for y'all today. Today I'll be telling y'all a story that is not only tragic, sad, brutal, and overall, this case and this story, it was not handled the way it was supposed to be at that time, but I'm glad this young man got justice and didn't get proved guilty for this because he didn't do anything they accused him of. And before I get into this story, I just want to say things like this was so normalized back in the day. I can go on and on about stories like this, and it is just so sad the way they treated African Americans. And he was accused. Now let me get back on topic. So, this story dates back to the 1940s in South Carolina. So, 14-year-old George Stinney Jr., you know, these two white girls go missing. They go by the name of, so there's two white girls, 11-year-old Betty June Benneker and 8-year-old Mary Emma Thames in his hometown of South Carolina. So, they released a town search. They're trying to find these girls, and George Stinney Jr. is in on this. He's trying to help find these girls, because, like, if you're filing a missing report, of course you go out and go try to find them. So George Stinney is being a genuine person, and he went out to help these people find these girls. And let me tell y'all something that y'all probably didn't know at all. So when he got electrocuted, so there's this film out. There's this film, they released back in the day. They made it. It was about George Stinney Jr. So he's in the chair. They put the thing on his head, and they asked George Stinney Jr., hey, do you have any last words? When they put the thing on his head, he says, no, sir, in fright, because he doesn't know why he's accused of this right here. And it's just really crazy to me because they're electrocuting him in front of children as they cover in the film. Watching this film, it just made me realize that they didn't care about anything back in the day about African Americans. We couldn't do anything, all because of how they felt. And this story is just really, really tragic. Like, a 14-year-old getting electrocuted in a chair, I can't even think about that. That shouldn't even be a sentence. A 14-year-old getting electrocuted in a chair. Getting executed, right along getting executed. And he was accused of doing this. Now let me get back on topic. So George Stinney Jr., he's a young 14-year-old African-American boy. He's helping these people out by being nice and trying to find these two girls. And then George Stinney's like, hey, I saw these two girls. I saw both of them. I saw them walking on the street. And, the law enforcement, they took this as, hey, that's the one that did it. We got him. He's the one that did it. So they took this young boy in, sentenced him, and keep in mind, listen to this. Right when he went to jail, the next day he got electrocuted. He got executed the next day. They executed this young man the next day he got in there without even going in, questioning him, asking him questions, trying to see if he really did this. They just went straight to it. They went straight forward to it. And this young boy confessed it to doing it because, like, hey, he's thinking in his head, there's so much going on. He he didn't do it. They're going to accuse him either way it go. Even if he says he didn't do it, they're not going to believe him. So he confessed it to this story, took them in, his mugshot. He looks really sad, destroyed inside. He's like he can't do anything. And it's just so much going on in this moment for him to even think about. So they take him in, they take him to the execution room, and one fact, a few facts at that. This young man was so small, his jumpsuit barely even fit. This young man was so small, the bag that they put over his head, so when he get electrocuted, nobody can see his expressions, it was even small. And like the reality of thinking about stuff like that, these stories like this are so normalized that they do to African Americans. They didn't care about what happened to us back in the day. They didn't care at all. And it was just so sad that this young man had to go through what he went through. And he was wrongfully executed at 14 years old, just to find out years later he didn't do any of this stuff. And not only that he didn't do it, this young man just wanted to help them find these two girls. And this is the crazy of them all, what I'm about to say. This young man was only 90 pounds at this time. He was only 90 pounds at this time of this tragedy. You know, he didn't get to live a life like a 14-year-old should. He didn't get to, you know, he didn't get to do anything. And it's just so sad because his parents, Ames Stinney and George Stinney Sr., they had to see their child go through something like this knowing that he didn't do it. And it is just so sad because, like, as I said, stories like this are just so normalized. I can go on and on all day about this type of stuff. It's always something with African Americans, Caucasians. It's just like something will never work. Nobody will ever understand that, hey, like, it's just really crazy. Because, like, no matter how much you try to talk, nobody will understand. Nobody will understand nothing at all. Because this story, it should never happen. This story should never been told. This story should never even got out to the. This story should never even got farthest to the part that he got executed. Wrongfully executed at that. No proof. This young man didn't do any of this stuff that they said he did. They said he killed these two young girls, an 11-year-old and an 8-year-old. They blamed him on doing it. And did they ever find the killer that did it? Honestly, I don't even know. I don't even know if they even found the killer that even did it. They were so focused on getting this young man executed and stuff that they couldn't even figure out that, hey, we found the killer. This is the person that did it. They just went in and accused this young man of doing this crime that he didn't do. And in the mugshot, you can tell he looks just so drained and sad because he just knows that this is not good for him. First of all, he's an African American. This is the 1940s, and he's young and he's 14. That they don't care. That's one thing that we gotta realize, that nobody cares about anything. If you don't care about yourself, then just realize that nobody else will. Because things like this still go on today. Things like this still happen today. Things like this racially, it's all racial. And it shouldn't be like that at all. Nobody should have to think about the reality of going out in the streets and get accused of something they didn't do, going and getting taken in for something they didn't do, knowing that they didn't do it at all. And he still got took in for doing something like this. These people blamed him, executed him, and years later, he got justice for it, which I am really glad about. He got justice for it. His family received justice for this young man. You know, he was proved not guilty for it. But still, they took this young child's life. He could have lived it. He could have had a great life. But it was all stripped away, all because of what they thought he did and what they accused him of doing. This story is just so sad and so devastating. No child, nobody should go through this. Nobody at all should go through this. And this story will forever be remembered in history. And I hope y'all learned something new from this story. I will have more content coming for y'all soon. Stay safe, and I'm out. Peace.